Art has been around for as long as humans have existed, and maybe even longer, from prehistoric carvings way back in the ancient times to controversial performances in the contemporary setting. These masterpieces have been a mainstay as a way of expression of imagination, emotion, and even skill, drawing influence from whatever that is available. One particular subject that inspires us humans is something so close to us that we all have it: our bodies. The human body has always been intriguing for all kinds of artists, whether it's sculptors, painters, or any other artist. Its beauty, complexity, and individuality had resulted in some of the finest works of art in our history. Of course, art isn't stationary. The human body has never been depicted in the same way in artworks. Artists typically portray their time period in their masterpieces, and specifically, is the prevailing idea on the most aesthetic form of the human body. Therefore, looking at how the human body changes in art throughout different eras teaches us not only of the style and standards during those times, but more so on their culture, experiences, and ideologies.
Ancient art. As early as the Paleolithic Age, human depiction can be seen in art. The stone sculpture, Venus of Willendorf, is the most famous human sculpture in this era. It is made of limestone, 4.4 inches tall, and is estimated to be created during 24,000 before Common Era. The figure portrays a woman with emphasized breast and belly. Art historians believe that the artist created the sculpture as a symbol of fertility. In this age, most of the art that depicts the human body involves nudity. Unlike the Paleolithic Age, art from ancient Near East and ancient Egypt does not contain nudity. Male forms have bare chests and female forms have their breasts covered. The sculptures have precisely carved faces and physical features. This era is also known for having human-sized to large-scale sculptures to demonstrate authority. A great example from this age is the sculpture of Menkaure and his wife. The well-built body, good posture, and gaze of Menkaure's body shows his power and influence. The size of his wife, Menkaure Nebi, is the same as his because they are seen as equal. Ancient Greek. The Greek sculptors like Phidias and Polykleitos had figured out how to apply the rules of anatomy and perspective to the human form. Compared to earlier statues that look awkward and fake, the sculptures in the classical period look more natural and have realistic facial expressions. Faces are generic while the bodies are smooth, muscular, and proportionate. The Doryphorus, spare-bearer statue of Polykleitos, is a great example of human sculpture from the classical period. The sculpture has ideal human proportions, tense and relaxed body while conveying athleticism.
It was during the 15th century that marked a turning point in art's history. The Renaissance was a period known for its artistic flourishing, which saw the masterpieces by the four most famous Renaissance masters: Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo, Raphael, and Donatello, all of which sparked interest in the Greco-Roman culture. Donatello's artwork David was the first freestanding nude sculpture since the ancient past. There were also painters such as Masaccio and Paolo Uccello who developed a system of linear perspective to depict three-dimensional space on a two-dimensional support. Plenty more impactful artworks contributed to the huge turning point in art during the 15th century onwards. Religion was one of the heavily utilized tools used to depict art during the 15th century. Michelangelo's artwork The Last Judgment, created in 1489 from the Sistine Chapel, describes the Last Judgment as the end of time, referencing the Apostles' Creed, which is an early statement of Christian belief. Originally, the figures in the painting were nude, but it had to be redone. Majority of the human bodies involved in the painting were distorted, since the bodies were exaggeratedly large and elongated, emphasizing the mannerist style that was developed during that century. Another example is Albert Durer's painting Adam and Eve, created in 1504, depicts biblical characters Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. The bodies of Adam and Eve were classically influenced, seeing as how Eve's counterpoised stance and idealized features were emphasized. Both of the paintings mentioned above contained nudity and expressions of the human body in a religious standpoint. However, the second painting, Adam and Eve, was called to be more realistic compared to the first one. During the 16th to 17th century, the majority of the paintings and artworks produced in places like Spain were religious. It can be observed that the majority of the Catholic churches around the world and its monasteries, convents, and abbeys commissioned a huge number of paintings and sculptures to occupy their infrastructures. One of the famous biblical sculptures during the 16th century was David, created in 1623 by Gian Lorenzo Bernini. The artwork is strongly influenced by the Greek Hellenistic sculpture based on the capturing of motion and emotion. There's so much human detail in sculpture that it eases the viewer's understanding of what message Bernini was trying to convey. It can be said that during the 15th to 17th century, plenty of religious artworks were created.
As time progresses, the human body was also included in the notion of contemporary art. This type of art form rejected the traditional styles and values of the past, wherein such unique, unconventional, and unrealistic ideas were created during this time of creativity. This concept was denoted as the contemporary art of the body. This has three major concepts. It is an object because it receives meaning, a subject because it produces meaning, and it is a performance because of its identity that is not inherent, but acts out as it unfolds over time. The painting Les Demoiselles d'Avignon is an example of modern art. The work is Pablo Picasso's first Cubism painting. It shows a non-traditional depiction of the female body. Instead of being alluring and sensual, the women are depicted as geometric while maintaining the provocative element. This unusual figure actually depicts the body's refusal to stasis. Bowery created the pregnant tutu head to show the body's ability to transform in its unpredictable development. As an object, it shows that the body is an entity for conception. As a subject, it actually gives meaning to the life within its womb. And as a performance, its unpredictability as it develops shows that pregnancy is not just fixated with the concept of conception, but something new every time it happens. This artwork, Self-Portrait as a Fountain, is meant to push the photographic concept further as it photographically records the body actually performing something, and in this case, to act as a fountain. This is truly a wonderful example of the body being an object, because the artist literally just placed her face on the Mona Lisa painting, and it gained a different impression, holding a different meaning. One of the goals of Morimura is to catch the attention of her audiences by changing some details of the original painting, a way for her to introduce contemporary art to the public. Furthermore, the picture also acted as a subject for producing other functions of a woman's body, which is conceiving life. The way it depicts something unusual, yet meaningful, sums up the way the mind of the artist of contemporary body art works.
As we have traversed through various timelines, it has become apparent that the concept of what is ideal is definitely indefinite. Previously established ideals are persistently being challenged and reinterpreted to fit the mold of the current trends. Art in the human body is shaped by the artist that finds novel ways of self-expression based on burgeoning ideologies among their distinctive cultures, just as how it shifts according to the social context that is prominent during the time. Technology did not help bridge the gap between art and the body, as it paved the way for new mediums to flourish. Unforeseen media brings about a whole new dimension of interpretations that steers away from the notion of having a single, ideal human body. With that being said, we are only in medias res. We can certainly expect that the art of today will be vastly different from the perceived art of the future, just as how our body adapts in order to survive and thrive in its ideal form.